now we're here with Ambassador He. He's the permanent representative of the People's Republic of China to the United Nations and other transnational organizations. Ambassador, you're a speaker of this year's Shanghai Symposium, and your panel discussion today will be about the topic of the gap between international ambitions and realpolitik for global economies and politicians. Where do you see this gap to widen going forward?
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be in St. Gallen attending this symposium. The gap between an ideal world and the real world is widening, actually. I remember this ideal was first proposed by a Chinese thinker, Chinese philosopher, about 2,500 years ago. Confucius, you might have known the name. This very wise man proposed the concept of one harmonious world in which people live happily, they don't have to worry about wars, and they have enough materially, and they are rich spiritually. If we cast our eyes to Europe, almost at the same time, we have the Greek philosopher Plato in his work named Republic. He painted a similar picture for an ideal city-state. The same thing. But now we do not believe we have realized that ideal. Several challenges lying ahead. One is globalization. Globalization has brought us tremendous gains. We're all better off. But globalization has also brought us tremendous challenges. We are seeing climate change, environmental degradation, food crisis, water shortage, energy depletion, etc., etc. And these risks are both global and interconnected. This is one of the challenges we face. The other thing is the system we have, the international system, the institutions we established after the Second World War are not adequate enough to deal with this. So we need to reform the whole system. This is a daunting task. We have started after the financial crisis with increasing of shares for developing countries, emerging markets in International Monetary Fund and World Bank, the Bretton Woods institutions. Not enough. And also there are problems with international trading system, international monetary system. The G20 is seized of this issue. They are going to discuss how can we improve or whether we should readjust the international monetary system. So we have lots of problems. What to do? You might ask. Next question, I can anticipate your next question is what to do. How can we bridge the gap? I have an idea. I have been talking about it for some time. That is, we need to establish a new global partnership. The new global partnership should be based on common responsibility, shared interests, consensus building, and fairness and justice. Hopefully that will lead us to lasting peace and common prosperity. We need to have several elements or pillars in that partnership. Extremely important one is we need to work together. I call it togetherness.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you. You, in a speech recently, you advocated for this togetherness in the global community. Now, with China gaining increasingly political and economic importance, how will your country carry out a leading role in this global togetherness?
Togetherness is very much required. And there is an old saying in China that we are in the same boat. We need to row in the same direction. As I said, globalization has shrink the whole world and made us into a global village. So whatever role we have, big countries, small countries, we need to not only think only in terms of our own interest, we have to align our own interest with those of the whole world, other countries in the region and beyond. For instance, I give you one example. Monetary system. Now the major reserve currency is the US dollars, right? Over 60% of the trade is settled in US dollars. But look at the liquidity of US dollars and the fluctuation of the values of US dollars. Not stable. It has brought the trade system almost to its knees with such large fluctuation. So we're asking the United States to say, look, you are one of the key members of the international community. Please make an effort to stabilize US dollars so that Swiss franc will not be appreciated much, right? For China, of course, we have been acting very responsibly. Number one, we have been engaged in international mediation, peacekeeping operations of the United Nations, providing assistance to developing countries, engage in trade negotiations, etc. We believe we should be a part of this new global partnership. We're doing that. Of course, there are some imbalances in global economy, and we need to stimulate our domestic consumption. And this is a decision, strategic decision by my government in the 12 five-year plan. Now, we cannot really rely on export-driven economy. That model is not sustainable. This is also one way to showcase that my government is acting responsibly for the common good of mankind.
Ambassador, you represented China at last year's climate talks in Copenhagen.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Now, in the aftermath of the nuclear crisis in Japan, climate issues seem to have disappeared from the agenda of policymakers. Is this not of priority anymore, this issue?
No, the issue is still of priority. We are going to have, after Cancun, Mexico, we'll have COP17 probably now, in South Africa, and then later on in Rio, Brazil. Climate change is a challenge for all of us. You like it or not, it will not go away. Whether you put it on priority list or not, it will be priority. And it has to be, because it affects all of us. The key is, of course, for countries to act together. For instance, for developed countries in Category 1, according to Kyoto Protocol, they need to recommit to hard targets in phase number 2, second phase of emission reduction, real hard targets, because the first phase is going to expire by next year, end of next year. So we need a new phase, new commitment from developed countries. Developing countries, on the basis of common but differentiated responsibilities, also need to take actions. China, for example, has committed to reduce our energy intensity by another 40 to 45% by the year 2020. It's a real commitment. And that target or indicator has been built into our economic growth strategy. If you are an official in China, hopefully you will be, your performance will be judged by these indicators. And climate change or environmental protection is one of them.
So, whilst some countries in the West are still busy with blaming China for emitting too much carbon dioxide, your country is about to become the leading manufacturer and also users of green technology. Are Western countries missing the point?
They are missing the point. You are right. First, they are missing the point because whatever we produce in China is not consumed entirely by Chinese people. Actually, most of them are exported and to be consumed in Europe, America, and elsewhere. So it's not China that is emitting carbon for the sake of themselves. It's for the whole world. So there is I would say, a sharing of responsibilities. Secondly, we are doing what we can to reduce the energy intensity in our production. Also, we are going very strongly into renewable clean energy. I give you another example. For the year 2010, global clean energy investment amounted to over 230 billion US dollars, around that figure. And China's share is 22%, number one. We are the number one investor in clean energy. Roughly amounts to 54 or 55 billion US dollars a year for the last year. Now, just one example for clean energy. So we are doing what we can. I think to blame China is not only missing the point, but also ill-intentioned. Thank you.
Ambassador, thank you very much for this conversation. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.